If you want that big name performance sound without having to pay that big name performance price for your 2016 to 2023 3.5 liter powered Tacoma, then C&L's Dual Exhaust is going to be the system for you. While the 3.5 V6 in the last gen Tacoma can be a fun exploit, it can be easy to go overboard with sound. This system brings you some great sound and quality at an equally great price. This does, of course, have more volume than your stock system, and accordingly, we're going to give this a very strong 3 out of 5 on our loudness meter. It is going to be a noticeable step up from stock, and while your neighbors will definitely know what's up, it won't have them shaking their fists at you on a cold morning. This is a full catback system, so it's going to replace your factory mufflers and resonators with this big dual chamber suitcase style muffler right here. Now, as you can hear from the clips at the beginning of the video, and as the resonance of this thing would substantiate, this is going to give you some pretty good noise and resonance here. You can see some of the chambered stuff in there hopefully too. But especially compared to the very quiet stock setup, this is going to be way different. You get a much more aggressive exhaust note, it's raspy, and it gives the truck a lot more character than you get from the factory. This will also allow for better exhaust flow than stock too, because there's simply just less stuff in here than your stock mufflers, and that can make for an increase in both power and response. Now, don't expect a huge increase in power here, but it is going to help your truck breathe a bit better and reduce back pressure, which can unlock some more power, so you might feel it a bit more in the seat of your pants. Now, inside the cabin, of course, this all means you're going to get more noise as well, so prepare for a slightly louder driving experience. As you heard from the clips at the beginning of the video though, it is louder inside, but it does sound good, and you can carry on a conversation or listen to music easily, since this isn't quite a straight pipe or something unhinged like that, so it strikes a nice balance of sound and volume, making it a good choice for a daily driven truck. Now, from an aesthetic perspective, well, that's another place where this really is a step up from your stock exhaust. The tips will come out at an angle on either side of the truck, in the rear behind your rear wheels. It's definitely better than the unfinished exhaust tip that you get stock, and the whole thing is capped off with these nice polished T304 dual wall stainless tips. It's a nice visual update, but like the sound, it's not too over the top, just something that the keen eye will spot right away. Construction here is all 409 grade 2.5 inch diameter mandrel bent stainless steel, so this is going to allow for some solid exhaust flow and protection against rust and corrosion too. Now, you're not going to get quite as much protection here as you do with T304 stainless, but it also doesn't come at the high price of T304 stainless, and it will still last you quite a long time. It's all nicely put together too, the welds look great, and it makes it kind of a shame that you won't be able to see this once it's on the truck. And of course, you do have T304 stainless on those tips here, so the part that you do see has a nice polish to it, and these should look good for a long time. It's a great looking and sounding system, especially considering the price. Now, speaking of that price, this system is only going to run you about $800. And that makes it a pretty affordable option, especially considering the sound and materials. And while it may not have things like switchable valves or some of the other fancy features you'd find on big name brands, this is going to give you all the good stuff that you want. It looks good, it sounds good, and it's not going to cost you a fortune. And really, what more could you ask for from an exhaust? Installation gets a 2 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and the job should take you about 2 hours to complete. Like most exhausts, it's a pretty straightforward process and will utilize all your factory exhaust hanger locations, so you don't need to make any permanent mods to your truck. Only thing to be aware of here is that depending on your cab and bed size, you may either need to use the included extension pipe or make a cut to the main one. But that is detailed in the instructions in the box, so you'll have a handy reference guide, and we're gonna walk you through the install process right now, step by step, as we head on out to the shop.
Tools required for this install include an impact gun, a ratchet, rubber mallet, an extension, 14mm wrench, 14mm swivel socket, and a 16mm socket. Today we're installing an exhaust on our Tacoma, so let's get started. So our first step is going to be to disconnect our hanger on our tailpipe, as well as our frontmost hanger behind the flange. We're going to leave the two hangers connected behind the muffler until we disconnect our flange and we're ready to fully remove our exhaust. So I've gone ahead and sprayed our hanger down with some penetrating lubricant just to make it a little bit easier to slide off. And then I'm going to get in there with an exhaust hanger remover tool to slide this out. So now coming to the front side of our muffler right behind our flange, we can remove our second hanger. I went ahead and did the same thing, sprayed it down with some penetrating lubricant, and then we can pop that out. So now with our two hangers removed, we can attack our flange. So these are going to be two 14mm bolts. So I'll get a 14mm socket on an impact gun and get these off. So now with our flange unbolted, we can hit our last two hangers that are right behind the muffler. So I'll get in there with our exhaust hanger remover tool. So now I've thrown a pole jack underneath our muffler just to hold the exhaust into place while we remove our last exhaust hanger. Then once again, I'll get behind that with our exhaust remover tool and pop that out. So now we can start to slowly lower our pole jack and move the exhaust out towards the front of the truck. Now that we have our stock exhaust removed, I'm going to install our front pipe. Now I would recommend replacing the gasket here. I don't have one on me, so I'm going to reuse that one. We're going to install the front pipe with the bend going up and thread in our factory bolts. And then we're going to straighten out our flange and take a 14mm swivel socket going back and forth to tighten it down evenly. Now at this point, you're either going to be installing an extension pipe or your muffler. If you have a 140-inch wheelbase, you're going to be installing this extension pipe with a normal clamp here. If you have the 130-inch wheelbase like we do, you're not going to need the extension pipe. You can install your muffler with the hanger clamp. So we've got the hanger clamp here. It's going to slide in there and then go over our pipe. So now I slid that hanger clamp onto our muffler, and now I'm going to line it up with the isolator and slide my muffler onto that pipe. And now I'm going to grab a pole jack, straighten this out, and support the weight of it. Now before I tighten the clamp on the muffler inlet, I'm going to get our two muffler outlet pipes installed so I can get them into these rubber isolators, and that's going to hold the muffler where it's going to stay, and then we can tighten that clamp. So I'm going to get this clamp on there with the hardware on this side so that we keep it away from our drive shaft. I'm just going to tap that clamp on with the rubber mallet. And then I'm going to take my my driver's side over axle pipe. I want to go into the hanger, and then I'm going to raise up my pole jack so that my pipe lines up. Slide that in. And then we'll get our passenger side. We're going to have to go into both of our isolators at once. Now we'll grab our passenger side over axle pipe, and we're going to have to go into our hangers first. So I'm going to try to get it into the one behind the muffler first. Get that one, and then I can slide this back. I'm going to lower my pole jack down a little bit. Get some maneuverability here. Pop my pipe in, raise that pole jack back up, and then we can slide this backwards into our muffler. So right below this G on the frame, on the driver's side, right behind the rear shock, you've got this hole. We're gonna take a bolt and a serrated washer and drop that through the hole. So now we're gonna slide on our hanger, followed by a serrated washer, a lock washer, and then a nut. I'm gonna rotate that around to the correct position. And then I'm just gonna leave this loose for now. We're coming very close to the spare tire, so I still want enough room to get my hanger on. And then once we get our pipe in here, I'll go back and tighten that. So now we're ready to install our driver's side tailpipe. So take a clamp and get it on the over axle pipe. And then I'm gonna take my rubber isolator, slide it onto that rod, and then slide it onto our hanger. And then with that in place, I'll connect it to my over axle pipe. So now that we have our entire exhaust on, it's all in the hangers and supported by its weight, we can go back and tighten everything down. So we're just gonna get all our clamps in place right at the end of our pipes. Take a 16mm socket and tighten down all your clamps. And now we'll come to our over axle pipe, tailpipe connection, tighten down that clamp. Now we can install our tips. Now once you have your tip where you'd like it, take a 16mm socket, tighten down your clamp. Now you can do the same thing on the other side for the tip, and then the last thing we have to do is go right above our tip and tighten down that hanger. So grab a 14mm socket and wrench and tighten that down. So that'll wrap up this review and install of the C&L Dual Exhaust System with polished tips, side exit for your 2016 to 23 3.5 liter Tacoma. Thank you for watching. For all things Tacoma, keep it right here at ExtremeTerrain.com.